Ahoy, mateys! And welcome to the 7th episode of Rogue Advice. 3 more till we hit 10, and as you notice, I have the email right here. We are a D&D TTRPG sports and everything podcast, which began as Bard Advice, where you, the viewers, send in your questions, and I, along with chat, will try to answer them. I am your host. You may know me as the Rogue, the Pirate Archaeologist, Pirate, and there are some who still call me Chris. At the top of our show, I would like to take this time to welcome all of our regulars, River, Puffy Cheeto, James, the Council of Chris, and welcome any new individuals joining for their first stream. We would also like to remind everyone, please like, comment, subscribe, turn on those notifications, rate the podcast. And if you haven't already, please join the Discord. Sure, River's already put the link up in the chat. There will be an archaeology corner tonight, but not in the usual sense. But you'll see. We have a few things to get out the way before we get into questions this evening. The first of which is we sort of have a sponsor for this evening. Not as much as a sponsor as it is an advertisement of sorts. This company, Hexwood Creations, creates things out of wood, from dice boxes to towers to dice coffins and more. It's a small home-based business, and they're wanting to get their name out there. I've been in contact with them recently, and as much as they would love to have sent me one of their products to advertise with, they're not in a place financially to do so. Now, I want to make it clear that I asked nothing, including money, to do this bit of advertising for them. I just asked if I could. So please go check out Hexwood Creations on Facebook. I have also posted a link in the description of this video. They do extremely great jobs. With that being said, that takes us to our archaeology corner this week. Now, as you guys see, I'm dressed up in my pirate gear. I got all of it in. And that is what tonight's archaeology corner is. Me in full glory in pirate costume. I think I look dang dashing, don't you think? James, if you're in and out, you're in and out. That's fine. Get in when you can, get out when you can. We achieve coat. Oh, no, not just coat, Kurt. We achieve coat, outer coat. We achieve waistcoat. We got the breeches and my hat. As a matter of fact, I have my hat right here. It's a cool hat, and it was custom made per order by PirateFashions.com. Now, Pirate Fashions is another store that I want to plug later, but they are out of Tampa, Florida. They do all of the gear and get-ups for Gasparilla Day. They do all the gear for anybody who wants to dress as a pirate for Tampa Bay. And they make exceptionally great clothing and exceptionally great hats. And I am over the moon pleased with them. It's not a cummerbund, Kirk. It's actually a sash. It's a 12-foot long sash that is phenomenal. So, yeah. With that out the way, let's move on to some questions. Now, one question, I think I might have taken it a bit far, but Ron will have to let me know whether or not I took it in a meaningful way or not. But our first question is from none other than our very own River. It was actually easy to answer. Sort of. River asks, what is my favorite book? Now that's interesting. My favorite book of all time happens to be a tie between the two. Rainbow Six by Tom Clancy and Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Rainbow Six will always be the foundation for the video game series, the movie series, the standalone TV series, Rainbow Six is just phenomenally awesome. Jurassic Park, however, sets the bar a little higher. Jurassic Park, well, it's Jurassic Park. The movie had elements of the book, but the novel is so much better. And anyone who read the novel will tell you that it didn't keep true to the story. The movie did not keep true to the story. In fact, many of the elements in the first Jurassic Park book were showcased in other movies, like The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. Specifically, in The Lost World, the scene where the T-Rex sticks his head through the waterfall into the cave. That's actually in the first Jurassic Park book. The scene where they're in the aviary with all of the pteranodons in The Lost World, or in Jurassic Park 3. That's actually in Jurassic Park the novel, though not to the extent that it was there in the movie. They just rode a river raft through the aviary and traveled down the river that is in the middle of the island. Something's happening in chat. What's happening in chat? Tie Between Ranny by Chuck Palahniuk and Harrison Bergen by Vonnegut. Okay. The only book that I've read by Kurt Vonnegut is Slaughterhouse 5. That's insanely. Yukai says it's insanely hard for her. She reads an awful lot. She doesn't even think she could pick a favorite along with a single book. Kirk says converting a book to a movie script is an art. Can't get all of a novel's content into a movie, so what do you cut? No one will ever be happy. That is exactly true, Kirk. And it makes doing it that way, cutting things that are essential to the book, changes a movie and makes it more as a series of movies. And that's what they did with Jurassic Park. And I was getting to that. At the end of the book of Jurassic Park, the velociraptors have escaped their pen and are on the southern tip of the island, where it's all volcanic and sand and deserty and stuff like that. And they subsequently end up flying the Air Force in and bombing the island and destroying all the dinosaurs on the island, which would have made a perfect ending for a standalone Jurassic Park movie. But that doesn't bode well for making a series of movies. The end of Jurassic Park, the novel, also saw a one or two, I can't remember, it's been a while since I read the novel, but one or two velociraptors are seen on the back of a shipping ship, an actual container ship that was leaving the island. And that's technically in Jurassic Park, or in the Lost World Jurassic Park, when the T-Rex gets shipped to San Francisco or Los Angeles and gets loose on the ship. Yeah, they took leeways with that. But, so, yeah, while some elements have to be cut to save time for a movie and to save budget for a movie, there are other elements that shouldn't be cut, like John Hammond getting unalived in the Jurassic Park novel by a bunch of compies. While that wasn't shown in the movie, John Hammond survives. They did use that scene again from the novel into The Lost World Jurassic Park when the guy goes off for a wee and gets eaten by the compies in the river. But so those are my two favorites. And it makes me wonder whether or not you could convert Jurassic Park the novel into a one-shot D&D campaign where you don't have a big bad. Your whole goal is to survive the island. Who knows? Maybe one of y'all in the chat will create it. Ron says favorite book He has a favorite author with several others following closely. I'm going to say Ron's favorite author is Roger Zelazny. And his favorite book is The Chronicles of Amber, which is really a series of books, if you want to get down to brass tacks on it. But that's what I'm going to say Ron's favorite is. James says one of the best book-to-movie conversions was definitely the first Harry Potter. It was short enough that they could keep just about everything in and did a decent job. Yes. Hammond was also a complete monster in the novel. Yes, he didn't care who died. He just wanted the money. Not the friendly old man they showed in the movies. No, he wasn't. And if you remember in the novel, and this is something they did recently in the first Jurassic World movie, when they get to the island and they get to their suites, their hotel suites, you see them going through the TV and the guide channels and everything else like that in the Jurassic Park novel. You didn't see that in any of the movies until Jurassic World, when they had the full-on resort hotel and everything else like that. So there are still elements, even from the newer Jurassic Park movies, that they're still bringing in from the first book. Kirk has too many books to pick a fave. If he had Drawing of the Dark by Tim Powers, unique to take on some ancient legends, and my favorite excuse for conflict between the East and the West. Okay, I haven't read it. Don't even know what it's about, but we will check it out. But I hope that satisfies you, River. Thanks for the question. It's always great to get questions from River. They're intriguing. Our next question comes from Ron. Now, Ron, I kind of went a little overboard with this question, but here it is. Hello, Rogue Bardadian. Another archaeological type speculation question. The age of civilization keeps getting pushed back. 6,000 to 8 and so on. I included this infographic, I don't know why I have graphis, to ask if Noah was from Atlantis. And this was the infographic that Ron put up, the Past Chronicles one. I put up the second one, and that'll come into play here in a bit. So Ron, let's just assume for a moment that Noah was real and not a myth. We'll get back to the mythos of Noah in a minute. But assuming Noah were real, and assuming that you do drop the water table by 400 feet, as shown in the infographic you sent, 400 feet is roughly 121 point something, 400 feet is roughly 121 point something meters, as shown by the second graphic. This would actually be what the Earth would look like if you dropped the oceans by 400 feet. Now, Plato had described Atlantis as a magnificent city surrounded by 3 concentric circles of land with only one way in or out, and it sits just outside the Pillars of Hercules. Now, we know the Pillars of Hercules are the Straits of Gibraltar, which is what Past Chronicles says. However, historically, the story of Noah and the flood is similar to the story of the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, which was written about 1800 BCE. That period of 3000 BCE to 500 AD, which is 5,000 years ago to 1524 years ago, approximately, is considered ancient history and covers all continents inhabited by humans in this period, and it ends with the expansion of Islam into late antiquity. Now, with that being said, the story of Noah took place, or was said to have taken place, in 2304 BC, about 4,529 years ago. According to the Bible, Atlantis was said to be destroyed 11,500 years ago, or 9,400 BCE. There's no way to know. There's no way for Plato to have known anything about Atlantis, as he wrote the story of Atlantis. there's no way to know that the Egyptian guy, Sanchis of the Temple of Sais, knew anything about Atlantis. Because human history dates back to the first civilization at about 9000 BC at a settlement at Gobekli Tepe, which began about 9500 BCE. I'm sorry. Track back. The settlement Gobekli began about 9500 BCE. The first evidence of agriculture, which is one of the first signs of civilization in eastern Turkey, came about 9000 BC, which is 500 years after the settlement of Gobekli Tepe was founded. Now, Mesopotamians came around about 8000 BCE, but recorded history only started about 3000 BCE. So, the Bible even says that Noah was from the Mesopotamian area. So, what we know and what we assume or what we want to know are two different things. Now, I know this is not what many of you Atlantis faithful were hoping for, but in my opinion, Noah was not from Atlantis. Noah was from the area that is Mesopotamia, which is now currently Iraq and Turkey and everything else. So I hope that answered your question, Ron. I hope that was what you were looking for. If you were looking for something fun, I completely missed the mark on that. Sorry, bro. But we've got 3 more questions tonight. We actually would have had 4. However, our third question would have come from Puffy Cheeto, Amanda. However, she messaged me earlier and said that she would not be on tonight, as everyone in her house is down with the flu. So she asked that her question be answered next week. We here at Rogue Advice and all of the Rogue Advice Bardadians would like to wish Amanda, Puffy Cheeto, a quickly get well soon. Well, okay, River, here's the thing. You are absolutely correct. Babylonian. But Mesopotamia is Babylonian. The Akkadian Empire, which we discussed a few episodes back, was a mix of the Assyrians and the Babylonians. That's what created the Akkadians. Mesopotamia is Babylon. Same area, different time periods. Not so much different time periods. Same time periods. The Akkadians conquered Babylonia and the Assyrians and created one. Okay. See? Ron's like, he was just poking a beehive after I showed the Mount Ararat Ark site last week. Or 2 weeks ago, right? No, last week. Anyway, but yeah. So Noah was Mesopotamian, Babylonian. He's from that area. He's not from Atlantis. I don't believe that the ark that he built would have traversed, even if Atlantis existed at the same time, even if it existed at all. I do not believe that a ship that large would have been maneuverable. I don't believe they even created a rudder system on that ship. There was no sails, there was no power stuff. It was just a boat to save the animals from the water. I mean, if you read about it, it has no mode of transportation. So, yeah, but Matt, Look, anything's solvable with Magic River. All right, so get well soon, Amanda. We will proceed on to our new third question, which also comes from our good friend River. My favorite common, uncommon, wondrous item that isn't combat-centric. River, you know where I'm going with this. We kind of answered this question in jest on the Discord, but I liked it so much that I think it deserves mentioned here. My favorite non-combat related wondrous item is a homebrewed item created by one of our viewers. No, it's not the Pipe of Smoke Monsters. It is the very rare and wondrous item, Mr. River's Secret Credit Ring. Its description: as an action, the wearer can summon up to 1 million gold pieces. And once any amount of gold is summoned, it must be paid back within 30 days. If any gold is left unpaid after that time, the wearer takes 10d6 plus 9 necrotic damage for every day it isn't paid in full. They also think they get an advantage in all charisma checks and will find more gold when looting. But the reality is that they get disadvantage on all charisma checks. And they lose 1d4 of their items every day it is in their possession. The ring, not the item. With that, it also subtracts 1d4 years of life away due to the immense stress it bears for every day that it's in their possession. And if it is in your possession upon your death, your soul is consumed by an archdemon of avarice, the entity who originally cast the curse in the first place. I think that is a phenomenally wonderful idea. I think it's a phenomenally wonderful, wondrous artifact, and I would like to see that item in somebody's D&D campaign. I think it'd be hilarious. Oh, River's favorite item is the Pipe of Smoke Monsters. Pope of Smoke Monsters. I need to take a drink here real quick. River laughs at the very secret credit ring. James, it certainly could have been anchored. Didn't really need to go anywhere. Could have been, yeah. Still talking about the Ark. Bionic Blonde. Oh, what the hell? What? We're talking cursed, wonderful. We're talking cursed, wondrous objects that are that are not combat related, and credit isn't combat related. And River's already found its way into his current campaign. Nice. So, in chat, Bionic Blonde, what's your favorite non-combat related wondrous item? Ron would rather take a loan from the Mafia than have this ring. You know, you're probably right. That's too much stress like real world. That's why it's so wondrous. All right, well, while you guys discuss your wondrous objects, I am going to proceed to the next question. And the next question comes from our very good friend Kurt. It's our penultimate question, and that means second to last. And it's a very interesting question. On this Valentine's Day, is there a record of when the first Valentine's Day card was sent? And who was it from and to? And regardless, who should it have been from and to? Oh, I went down a rabbit hole with this one. Because I didn't know if there was ever a Valentine's Day card sent first and recorded. But I found out there was two. The first one happened about 278 AD. And you're talking about this one. The only thing about it that makes it a Valentine's Day letter is it mentions your Valentine at the end of the signature block. But it was a letter sent from Saint Valentine of Tierney to the daughter of his jailer Asterius. Now, he was jailed for proselytizing and defying the Emperor Claudius's ban on performing marriages, and was sentenced to death by execution. Now, he sent her a letter, signed it, your Valentine. That should have been in the end of it, right? Nope, I got you one better. I actually got you two more better. But if we're talking about cards, the actual first Valentine's Day card was sent by Charles, Duke of Orleans, written to his wife, Bonnie of Armagnac, which uses Valentine as a term of endearment several times. The interesting part about this whole thing is that both men were in prison. Charles, the Duke of Orleans, sent his Valentine card to his wife from the Tower of London, because he was captured in the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. The next example, and by the way, he was French, so that Valentine's Day card was completely in French. The next example of the earliest known English Valentine was a love letter written in 1477 by Marjorie Bruce to her fiancé John Paston. And this is where it gets weird and interesting. Her Valentine's Day card, letter, whatever you want to call it, requests him to marry her in spite of her not being able to convince her father to increase her dowry. As to who wrote the first Valentine, or as who the first Valentine should have been sent to, I honestly have no idea, but that one takes the cake. But based upon the information we just found out, who knows? Who would you have written the first Valentine's Day card to? Valentine's Day card in history. Because we know that Valentine's Day itself is a commercialized thing to make money and sell chocolate. So let's see what let's see what the chat's got. Kirk says he figured I'd dig them up. Yeah, quite literally. They've been dead for almost 400 years. Well, no, 600 years. They've been dead for almost 600 years. At least two of them have been. The other one probably 3,000 years, something like that. Today is technically River's anniversary. Happy anniversary, River. His wife and him got together 14 years ago today, which is ironic given that we both despise this holiday. Okay. Did you despise it before or after you got together? That's the question. Romeo and Juliet, but they were fictional, so I suppose that doesn't count. They were fictional, and they were probably well after 1477. That would have probably been around, 15, 16, something. A day to deliver lead, according to Al Capone. Yes, Ron, a day to deliver dead. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Before. Okay, so you guys didn't despise the holiday, you guys despised the holiday before. Okay. Well, at least you two came together on something. Ruby's has always dreaded this holiday. With the exception of Halloween, River doesn't care for or about or celebrate any other holidays. I can see that. There's only a few holidays that I care about. One of them is Guy Fawkes Day, only because Guy Fawkes Day every year falls on November 5th, and that just happens to be my birthday. So, go me. Light some bonfires and set off some fireworks, and be joyous about the day that the House of Parliament almost got blowed up. All right, so I hope there's an answer for you there, Kirk. But our final question for the evening, and I do not see him in the chat, and I really wish, I really wanted to see him in the chat tonight because I wrote a whole introduction for him. So, but it brings us, I'm still going to do the introduction, but it brings us to our final question of the evening. And this tonight's show is going by quick. We'll have plenty of time for chat. Well, it wouldn't have gone quick had I done more on the Noah thing. I had like 3 pages of notes for the Noah thing. So, yeah, I severely truncated that down, Ron. But our final question of the evening comes from our surprise guest. And he deserves a great introduction. So here it is. I first met him online through the Man Shorts videos, where he brought joy and merriment to all he encountered. Next, he amazed me in Florida, in Duval County, where his loyalty to the Jacksonville Jaguars was unwavering. Known by many names all around the world, his moniker originates from the Russian word meaning tongue, though he took it from A Clockwork Orange. He is the lineal father to the Rogue Bard Advice channel, and so, without further gilding and lily, and with no more ado, I give to you the Seeker of Serenity, the Protector of Wisdom, the Enforcer of Creativity, the one, the only, Yazik, otherwise known as the Bard. Now Yazik asks, what's better, homebrew or modules? Now I left this question to last because I want chat's involvement in this one. This will lead us into chat. My thoughts on this is it's a difficult question to answer because there are so many exceptions to it. The short answer is yes. The short answer is I prefer homebrew over modules, with the caveat that I have the mental capacity to create a campaign in my head as a DM. If someone else is running it and I'm a PC, homebrew all the way. Modules, however, are good for those first-time DMs and those first-time players who want to get into playing D&D and have no idea what they're getting themselves into. Because, come on, if you start playing D&D, you start dressing like a pirate. You start becoming your character, and that's what homebrew DMs want. They want you to step into that character. Modules typically don't rely too much on the in-depth RP scenarios. Like I was saying, homebrew DMs want you to get into the mindset of your character. What would your character do? Not what would your character do? What would you do as your character? They want you to interact with the other players around the table. With a module, with new players, you're not really expected to interact so much character to character with the other players around you, because the module is structured so that even if you're not interacting in a role play scenario, you're still basically Steve Jackson gaming it. You're kicking down the door, fighting a monster, looting a treasure. It's basically what modules are. And it's a great way to get people involved and interested in D&D as a whole, but it's not so great when it comes to getting that little bit of extra XP for role playing. It also doesn't set you up for things like I'll be doing in May for live action role play. It doesn't translate well to that. But homebrew, however, you can make things up on the spot in homebrew. You get asked, and you have to get asked. Player character decides he wants to go talk to such and such over at the bar, and guess what? The DM hasn't created a character for that. The DM has to think on the spot to create a character for that. Has to create some DMs create voices for their different characters. Who knows? Homebrew is where the magic happens. Modules, you're kind of set following a script, so to speak. So that's where that leads us. I mean, my homebrew campaign that I'm creating within the Discord, I still need to work on some more of it. I'm creating it so that it lasts more than a day session. Modules typically are single session kind of things. Sometimes you can get modules that last 2 or 3 weeks, but that's with new players and you're not running through it fast and stuff like that. I'm building a homebrew campaign that'll last 6 to 8 months, dependent on everybody's availability. So, but that's what I like. I like to see friends come together for years and play a single story for years. Like there's no end to it. You fight one big bad just so another big bad can show up at the next event. So let's see what chat has to say on that. River homebrew, obviously River. I wrote this for you. Banhammer for module enjoyers. Banhammer for module enjoyers. Oh, yeah. Well, yes, you are, River. Yes, you are. But I wouldn't go so far as to ban players who enjoy modules from playing at my table. Absolutely not. Give them something new. Give them something creative. Have them expand their mindset. Get them away from the modules. Maybe they'll enjoy homebrew. River's homebrew world apparently has years upon years of content to play. See, that's what I'm talking about. Build something that you can build from in different games, in different types of games. Like maybe River, maybe your campaign has a sea area in it, an ocean area in it, and some of your games take place on land, and then you say, I want to go and do a campaign that's in the ocean one day. You have that ability to do so. When Kirk DMs, he homebrews much of the world, but to hold racist classes from the books, never DM'd a module. I've DM'd a few modules, and that's only because, one, we were deployed, and I DM'd I'll find that module that I DM'd. But I don't remember that module, but it was, it was the Temple of Elemental something. Temple of Elemental Evil is the one that I DM'd as the module. And that's a really great start off module. But again, it's from, I want to say that's from 3rd edition. But I moduled it for 3.5, which 3rd edition and 3.5 is the same. It's just minor tweaks to the rule book for 3.5 from 3rd, but yeah. But the module I just did for my kids, I actually DM'd 2 modules for them. I did the Sunless Citadel, and I did the Wrath of Ashardalon, which is the box game that I have, and that's technically a module game. But yeah, I was building the Sunless Citadel module. I was taking all of those modules and in that series and just boom, 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 and was going to go through it. But the kids decided they had better things to do than play D&D anymore, so they stopped. So that's where that led. You hate using... Okay. Well, that's fine, River. His 2 ocean areas, one of which is an isolated undead area where the ocean is made of finely ground bone sand. Okay. Interesting. Homebrew, because I couldn't afford a module. I just downloaded them, Ron. They're free PDFs online. I didn't spend anything on my modules. But I do use the races and classes from the books. Like I said, they're right there. Those right there are all of my 3.5 books. Well, not all of them. I'm missing one. I don't know where it's at the moment. But anyway. But what else? Who else is? Oh, this was before the internet. Ruby said this was before the internet. Yes. Yeah, I mean, when modules first came out, they were what, $15-$20 a module? Yeah, that's kind of expensive for a module. No downloads 30 plus years ago when I was a poor student. 30 plus years ago, you probably could have written to freaking Gary Gygax and had him snail mail you the modules. I mean, he probably would have done that. I mean, they did have fax machines back then and Xerox machines and stuff. So get one of your buddies and take one down to the freaking local copy store or local freaking public library. Heck, I'm pretty sure the public libraries had the modules on microfiche. I know that's dating me and you both, Ron and Ruby. I'm sorry. But staring there, looking there at a computer, at a analog microfiche in black and white is kind of redonkulous too. Kirk says his favorite homebrew was a universe that he did for Traveler Core based on 60 nearest star, built out from there for hundreds of stars. Civ history, nearly magic stuff was a good run. Okay, that sounds interesting. Sounds really interesting. Ruby, seeing he worked for the library for 33 years. Was that Ron working for the library for 33 years? I did not know that. I just pulled something out of my tricorn. Out of my hat. Anyway. Well, as you guys have figured out, we're in chat, so feel free to chat about anything. I want to start off this week's chat with something we didn't do last week, and I apologize for that. I ended the stream without having any good things for the week, but I figured it was Super Bowl weekend and everybody was hyped and everything else. So tonight, let's start off right. Let's get on with some good things of the week. I've got a few. I have had an awesome week. My week started off well. I got my background check interview scheduled for next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's a 2-hour-long interview. It's going to be on Zoom. So, no, I'm not going to dress as a pirate for it. I should, but I'm not going to. But it's the background check for my FEMA job. Tuesday of this week, I got a call from my FEMA recruiter saying that he was apologizing for being absent. He was gone for like 2 weeks. He had some personal things to take care of, and he wanted my start date to be in February, but somebody had poached my spot. So I told him that I have my background check interview next Tuesday. He's like, we already have you security cleared for this, so we're going to send you out the paperwork for the job, the final offer for the job next week. I'm like, cool. So that's on the up. Then Wednesday, I get a phone call from a job that I had applied for before FEMA had said, had gotten back to me. I had thought they had put me on the back burner with everything that's going on with the federal government, laying off people and stuff, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So I had applied for a little quick temporary job. It's only a week-long job. It's up in Kansas City. Just east of Kansas City, about just south of the Kansas City Speedway. I know there is going to be a couple people in the chat, or at least in the Discord, who are going to be interested to know that. Katz, I think, is from up there. So I might pop in somewhere and see Katz. I go everywhere, and any if I'm in an area where you guys are at, I will be happy to meet you guys at a restaurant or somewhere. And I had to raise my seat up because it keeps falling. I haven't fixed it. No, I have not. But I've had lunch and dinner with Puffy Cheeto. I met Avram while I was down there in Texas. So wherever you guys at, shoot me a message on the Discord and whatnot. And if I'm in the area, we can definitely meet up and have lunch or have a drink. Heck, I don't have a problem with that. But with that being said, I got a call from the guy who was hiring for this job, and he sent me an email prior and likes my resume, was interested, and I just got paperwork today. They want me to start for them on the 24th of February for this project up in Kansas City. So as soon as I get done here, I'm shooting them more information so we can get my payroll started. And then that was on Wednesday. Thursday, I got the coat back from the tailors. They had shortened the sleeves on it because the sleeves were exceptionally long. Couldn't see my hand, so I went to the tailors and had them shorten the sleeves and fix it. And then today, I got the rest of the pirate gear in. So my week has just been exceptional. However, has not been that exceptional for some people. A buddy of mine today got a phone call. Well, a buddy of mine got a phone call last night while he was on live. It was on TikTok live last night. And he got a phone call. Sounded ominous. And went into work today and was immediately terminated from his position. Nothing on his fault. He did nothing wrong. It's just everything coming down from the federal government. He is an archaeologist like myself, but he's an archaeologist in the Natchez Trace National Forest up in Montana. So he was 41 days away from no longer being a probationary employee. 41 days. And he would have been a permanent GS11 employee. The job I'm going into at FEMA is a IC11, which is the equivalent to a GS11 position. So, and no, I won't fall under that same probationary period, because I have already been a federal employee, and my last federal job I resigned from, which preserved my ability to go back into the federal government without having a probationary period. So unfortunate for him, he was still on probation. I do feel for him. As a great friend of mine. I met him on TikTok. I call him a great friend. Haven't physically met because obviously he was in Montana. But there are now things that he's going to have to look into doing now that he's no longer employed. But that's that. That's me. Let's see what chat has. River says congratulations. Or River says that's awesome, man. Growing up, he loved libraries. He could get lost in the book stacks for hours on end. Yes, I could get lost in libraries too, River. However, the libraries today aren't like the libraries they used to be. In my opinion, they are severely lacking in some areas, like every area. But that's just my opinion, or it could just be the libraries here in Oklahoma. Who knows? Be careful in Kansas City with a tuberculosis outbreak. I did not know that. I will be careful, Ruby. Thank you very much for that. The literal only bright spot to this week is that my grandfather should be able to come home in a week or so after being in either the hospital or physical rehab since before Christmas. I'm sorry to hear that, Yukai, that he's been in a hospital, but on the bright side, good luck with bringing him home. I hope it works out. We are all pulling for you. Bit too reclusive for that, but I'm always down to a game with anybody on the Discord if they want. I completely understand, River. Like I said, it's if people want. I'm not forcing people to meet me. You want to meet? That's fine. You don't? That's fine. Kirk says Maryland between DC and Baltimore. If I ever get back up to that way, Kirk, I'll shoot you a message. Congrats on all the job related stuff. Thank you, James. Thank you. I'm currently I still currently have a job. I still currently am a on-call and as-needed archaeologist, but I haven't had a job. That nobody's had any work for me for a month. So, but yeah, that hopefully I start this new job and get paid quite soon because I've got some bills to pay. This stuff was not cheap. Stuff cost me like $800. And the next bit of this, which is all the leather stuff and the swords and the flintlock pistols and everything else, that's going to cost another $1,800. Or not 18, $800. So, Ron, shipping and receiving stupidvisor. I was lean mean book sorting machine. Okay, I got you. Kirk's in the DC area. Know a lot of people who've gotten bad news or expect it soon. Kirk, according to my friend, 20,000 people. 20,000. Take that number. They were laid off today. Boom, gone, and they were all probationary employees. So take that with a grain of salt. And they were terminated. The letter that supposedly came down from OPM or whatnot said that they were all terminated for poor performance or not meeting performance standards. But half of them haven't even had a performance review by their supervisors yet. That's only done that you have a, speaking from myself, you have a midterm performance review that is done at the supervisor level, and then you have an annual performance review that goes up the chain to OPM level. So they haven't even had an annual performance review. Your midterm performance review is just basically a performance review so you can see where you need to work on so you can get that good performance review at the end of the year. So if you haven't had one, OPM's just chalking it up to poor performance, which is wrong. They all have legal recourse to appeal this and possibly get their job back, but we'll see. Handling materials for 20 plus branches, then 100 branches after Metro Toronto, amalgamated into the continent's largest public library system. Okay, so you're the continent's largest public library system. I don't want to say it, but I think I got to. Are you happy you're going to be the United States largest public library system? I'm not happy about it. I wish Canada would just stay Canada, but why do we need to own Canada? That's the thing. I don't get it. I agree, Kirk. You know, my elementary school, and I went to elementary school in the 90s, right? My elementary school, to this day, still has a card catalog system for their small little library they have in the middle of the school. I mean, they also have computers, but they still have the wooden box card catalog system, the Dewey Decimal System, all that. So I think more people should learn how to read the Dewey Decimal System. As of 3 days ago in Kansas City, two unalived, 67 active cases and 79 latent cases reported so far. Well, I'm hopefully not going to be in downtown Kansas City. Like I said, I'm probably going to be closer to Lawrence, Kansas, or the Kansas Speedway. So, and I'm going to be in a single occupancy hotel room. And we're just going out to the field and digging 400 and something shovel tests. So, who knows? I agree, Ruby. I don't think Trudeau, who is actually on his way out, is going to let it happen, and I don't think Canadians are going to let it happen. As a matter of fact, somebody sent me something the other day. I don't know who it was. It was in a text message. Somebody sent me something the other day that Canada is already starting to build a wall. Now, don't Don't be offended. It was just a beaver dragging a branch across the road. So it was a funny haha, but I thought it was funny. Don't want to be annexed, especially under current mismanagement. Yeah, absolutely. And who buys a country and then renames it red, blue, and green land, or red, blue, and white land, or red, white, and blue land, whatever the heck he's trying to rename it as. When a nearby library eliminated their card catalogs, I scored one of my favorite things. Awesome, Kirk. Awesome. You know what card catalog I want to score? And you probably wouldn't be able to unless this current mismanagement administration decides they want to close down the Library of Congress. That's the card catalog I want. That would be a card catalog for the ages. I heard, Ruby. I heard, and you guys got signs. I saw a picture. You guys got signs where the American alcohol, the Jack Daniels, Jim Beam would be. You got signs that say, "Buy Canadian." That was hilarious. Oh. Hey, guess what? We made it to 10 o'clock. And a lot of it was just me talking about me. Oh. Anybody else have anything in chat before we shut her down? I do have a little bit left to say, but ding ding. Okay. We have come to the end of the program, everyone. I would like to take this time to shout out a big thanks to everyone who sent in questions this week. Kirk, River, Ron, Amanda, even Chaz. Even though he's not here, I still want to thank him. Please remember to do so for next week. And as always, we would like to remind everybody of the email. It's roguebardadvice@gmail.com, and it kind of looks like Rogue Bar Dad Vice. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, turn on those notifications for this podcast on YouTube. Also, join the Discord. Perk of joining the Discord is you don't have to turn on the notifications from YouTube. Pingcord already notifies everybody that we are live. So with that, I am the Pirate Archaeologist, and wherever you are, wherever you go, remember one thing. Take what you can, give nothing back. With that,